Hi everyone, welcome to another video. Today I want to share with you how to make your own DIY glitter gel. Before I do that, I want to remind you to follow me across social media if you haven't already. Those links are going to be down in the description box below. Also, while you're down there, if you enjoy my channel, you can subscribe. And if you enjoy this video, the thumbs up button always helps. So I am using gel medium today, and I am using it with a gloss finish. That is kind of important for this. It will work with other things, but you're not going to get as shiny of a finish. So gloss gel medium is what you are going to want. For my project today, I am starting off with a piece of plain white cardstock. This is heavyweight white cardstock, and I'm going to put down this stencil. This is brand new from the Crafters Workshop. It's very fittingly called Pineapple. I like to center my stencil on the front, tape it down, flip it over, tape it down from the back. Then I know it's nice and centered. I can go back to the front, remove that little piece of tape that I put down to hold it in place, and I can go about doing whatever I want to do, and I know my stencil's not going to move around. I was not sure if I needed to go ahead and apply some ink underneath these. I had tested out this previously. I hadn't put any ink underneath and it worked just fine. But then doing it again, I got a little nervous. So I decided to go ahead and put ink underneath it. I also wanted to see if the ink would bleed around on me whenever I first put it down and then applied the gel over it. It's safe to say the ink doesn't bleed, but it also does not show through at all. These have so much glitter in them that I made that you don't even see the ink underneath them. If you are a little concerned about if you're going to add enough glitter or you don't have maybe enough of a color to add a bunch in, that's okay. Just go ahead and do what I'm doing here and color in your stenciled image first. I'm just using a few different ink pads and my little blending brushes. I'll leave all the supplies I use down in the description box below. So if you have any questions about ink colors or tools I'm using, those will be down there as well. So I filled in my pineapple with just ink very, very quickly first. I didn't do anything fancy. Filled it in with some green and yellow inks. Dye inks is what I used. Then I'm going to come in with a little bit of alcohol, actually, not water, because I didn't want these to react with water at all. And I just cleaned up my stencil around where the ink was still sitting on top because I didn't want the color of the ink to mix in with the gel. So on my palette, I've got my gloss gel medium. I'm going to be using some Wow glitters today. These are fine glitters, which just means that the glitter pieces themselves are small. So they're going to mix in really well and they're going to go into the fine areas of the details. If you have a larger stencil with the opening areas, you can go in with some chunkier glitter and make some chunky glitter gel, and that would be gorgeous. Just make sure that the glitter pieces are going to fit through the openings of your stencil. So in mixing this together, I just start with a little bit of glitter or with a little bit of the gloss gel, and I add in a few shakes of my glitter. Then I give it a mix, and if it's not where I want it, then I'll come back in and add some more glitter into it. What you're looking for whenever you mix this up, when you run your spatula across it, you're going to want to feel that grit. It's going to still stay together, it's going to still be a gel, but you're going to be able to see that glitter in there. You're going to be able to feel the texture in there as you go through. You can see I'm kind of scraping it along, and I can feel that glitter in there. If you can't, you don't have enough glitter in there. And you are also going to not see any more white of the gloss gel. You're only going to be able to see that green. So go in, keep mixing. If you over mix too much glitter in and it kind of falls apart on you, you can always come in and add a little bit more gel medium if you need to, and then just keep mixing as you go. If you have any left over, you can always put it in a little spare tub, or you can just shove it through a stencil and save it through another project, which I did with my gold, and I'll show you those in a moment. So I'm going to go ahead and take my palette knife once I'm done mixing it, and I'll spread this green through the top of the pineapple where I had put the green ink. I want a thicker layer of this too, Again, you can use a thinner layer. You just might not get the same coverage as you would if you go in with that thicker layer. So I'll go ahead and continue to place this through and smooth it out until I'm happy with it. Once I know that I've got all my little nooks and crannies covered and I've got it smoothed out how I want, I'm going to go ahead and move on to my bottom, or the bottom of the pineapple, which I'll be doing with some gold glitter. Again, starting off with a little dollop of my gloss gel medium, and I'm going to sprinkle in some of that Wow Gold glitter. I like this glitter again because it is a small particle size, but I understand not everybody orders online and whatnot. Or maybe you just don't trust glitter to come through the mail, because I was a little skeptical myself as well. But I'm going to leave a few different options down below for different glitters you can get. Arteza has a very nice set of glitters that comes in a lot of different colors that you can order off of Amazon. You can also buy very, very cheap glitter packs at Michael's. And those are actually going to be in the kids craft section, not the paper crafting section, but the kids craft section is where you want to go. I find that the paper crafting section does have a nice selection, but it's kind of overpriced when you can get the same thing in the kids section for a much cheaper price. It's just not going to be as pretty of a container. Once I have this mixed up, again, I'm looking for that little bit of grit that I can feel with my palette knife, and I'm looking for it to still stay together in its gel form, but it still has that little bit of texture. And I know it sounds confusing, but once you play around with it, you will be able to feel it, I promise. I'm going to go ahead and pick up a little bit of that gold glitter and put it through the bottom of my pineapple where I have all of my yellow ink. This might blend a little bit where it meets the green, but that's okay. These colors or these glitter gels, they blend beautifully even when you make them yourself. So if maybe you're not doing like a two-toned image like I am, but you just want to do a rainbow background, you can do that and just mix up each little color of glitter from the rainbow and then mix them together. They will blend so beautifully, I promise. Once I have my gold glitter on there, I'm going to give it a good scrape with my palette knife just to get off any excess. And you can see that I have quite a bit of gold gel left over. So I'm going to go ahead and make a few more projects with this. But first, I'm going to go ahead and peel up my stencil. And you do want to give it a quick wash, but you can see just how gorgeous that is. I mean, I love the way the green turned out. Again, you don't see the color underneath it, but if you are nervous about mixing in too little of glitter, just add a little ink underneath it and you'll never even know. There's a closer look at that gold and the shine you get. You also still get some dimension with this, which is just great. The great thing though, you get the dimension, you get the shine, you get the glitter, but you do not get the fall off, which is awesome. I rubbed and rubbed my fingers over these to see if I could get any of it to flake off, and it doesn't come off. It's kind of sealed in there. To finish this card off, I added a Your Special Sentiment, and I did a quick background on the card base from the Floral Spectacle stencil with some of that same yellow ink that I used on the pineapple. Very simple card to put together, but it packs a punch with that glitter. I love it so much. So like I said, I had a bunch of gold glitter left over. I wanted to use this, so I just kept grabbing stencils and card fronts and just putting it through there. This is also from the Crafters Workshop new release. It is called Dotted Rings, and it is so, so pretty. I went ahead and shoved some glitter through that as well with my palette knife and on an A2 card front. I just have a bunch of these ready to go whenever I'm messing around and kind of playing with different products and that kind of thing. That way, when I have a case like this and I just want to keep going, I don't have to stop and cut card fronts. There's a closer look at that front. What I actually did with this one is I went ahead and moved the stencil up a little bit when I put it down. So a little bit was not on the bottom of the card front. So I just cut along the little circles and made my own little scalloped edge. I just did that very simply with scissors. Then underneath that, I added a little bit of kind of a tealy, oceany blue color that I had stamped with some Versamark and a flower stamp for a very tone-on-tone, very quiet, subtle look. I added a Thinking of You sentiment with some gold embossing powder, put the whole thing together onto a card base, and that finished that card. Now, I also made one other panel. I didn't turn this into a card, but I grabbed a piece of brown cardstock to see if this would work on it. It does, and I also wanted to make sure that it had some really fine details. This is the Delicate Impression stencil. It has that really fine writing on it. I wanted to make sure that this would go through those fine stencils, and it works beautifully. That is going to do it for me today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. There are going to be links on the left side of your screen that you can click on. Don't forget the description box for all the information. Happy crafting, everyone.